Okay, I see the recording on. Thanks for having me, David. Rather than starting with poems about foreign, I'm going to start with a few that I think David Lantern and Bob Whalen would like, and maybe some of the others of you would as well. Um, this is the award winner called Meditation Instruction. Even if an A-frame of chicken bones is all that's left of your last meal, and the executioner will come for you soon, settle your awareness in the here and now. Even if the turkey is still raw 10 minutes before the banquet, even if you lost the winning lottery ticket and your future prosperity tumbles with pants in the dryer, practice the here and now. Even if your joke about the porn star brought a grimace to the pastor's lips, even if a fart loud as an air horn erupted at Toastmasters, let waves of awareness return you to the here and now. Even if your neighbor uses your lawn as his dog's toilet, even if that SUV takes 2 parking spaces, even if you obsess over your upcoming scene in Tarantino's film, even if your Nobel Prize acceptance speech is tomorrow, let your mind be a redwood rooted in the here and now. Even if a naked Angelina Jolie or Brad Pitt calls you from the bedroom, even if a new Lamborghini gleams in the driveway and the keys are in your pocket, let your mind be an immovable mountain in the here and now. Even if you fantasize this immovable mind will make you an action hero, even though this poem is only a metaphor and such a mind is impossible, even though Einstein proved that now does not exist, your here and now are enough. Okay, change the glasses a little bit and we're going to go for some more on a similar theme. Dilettante Zen poem. The real Zen students were sitting in full lotus before dawn, wearing their black robes and rakusu. I stayed up too late watching TV. Real Zen students don't have TVs. Eventually, I wake up, light a candle on the altar, and kneel on my meditation bench. A gasoline powered edger begins its serenade, and a lawnmower joins in the chorus. By now, the real Zen students are constructing monastery buildings, working with the dying, or reaching out to the homeless. I drive to my wrong livelihood job, where I'm harassed by my wrong livelihood boss. Real Zen students call this good training. I call it a pain. Real Zen students vow to return to this world of patience for countless lifetimes to save all beings. I wonder how I'll get through another day. I've given up trying to be a real Zen student. I think I'll become a dilettante instead. If you'd like to be one too, we meet at 7 most nights in the meditation hall. Um, so you know, in Buddhism, you've kind of got several types of trainees, right? You know, the arahant is somebody who works on personal liberation and, you know, has perfected that. The bodhisattva is somebody who, you know, kind of stays behind to help everybody else. And there's another kind of character that they talk about called the Pratyeka Buddha. That's like the self-enlightened. It's somebody who just figures out what life is about on their own, and they don't really teach or anything like that. And I don't know, maybe they're kind of looked down on a little bit, but I wrote this poem called In Praise of Pratyeka Buddhas. You won't find them on the lecture circuit or phoning you about dinner, requesting donations for a Vulture Peak summer camp. Though cosmic do-gooders scorn them and monks in ash-colored robes say they're reinventing the Dharma wheel, the self-enlightened feel no need to place ads in the yellow pages. Instead, solitary and silent as the brush of an owl's wing against night air, they study the alchemy of being. Glassware, ring stands, the blue flames of Bunsen burners. The formula is perfected. The fire door swings open, and the laboratory of mind is empty. Without so much as a call to entertainment tonight, the silent Buddhas go on their way. The kind ant, the farmer who tosses an extra apple in your bag, the waitress who expresses the thought you didn't know you had. Let's do these. Okay, so here are maybe three that are kind of pertinent to America's situation today. Russian troops march through my radio. There are crooked politicians in my smartphone, executions on my Blu-ray player. Tablet computers stream stolen elections. TV confiscates birth control pills. My e-reader throws Molotov cocktails. There is Ebola on the internet, repression in the stereo, and child abuse on the Wi-Fi. Greedy corporations send cancer through email. The printing press forces teenage girls into prostitution. Some days bruise, the healing silence is a northwest forest of cedar and hemlock, a still pond of wood ducks and heron. And did you ever notice that stupid ideas never go away? This is called the dustbin of history. Actually, a rusty dumpster behind the Smithsonian, soggy newspapers, broken glass, black banana peel on its lid. The last deposit, a dripping garbage bag of coffee grounds, apple cores, the Taliban. Before that, a broken comb tangled with Karl Marx's unruly hair. When the lights go out, dumpster divers crawl inside, searching for anything they can sell. Thumb screws, Spanish boots, Hitler's old razor blades, dead sparrows, backyard blast furnaces, Herbert Hoover's musty economics texts, vials of phlogiston, the recipe Typhoid Mary used for ice cream, McNamara's board games, Stalin's toenail clippings, Pol Pot's busted stereo. Bad ideas get a quick rinse in the waters of forgetfulness and a fresh coat of PR. Then grocery carts bulging with Lysenko science, crusades, jihads, and 30 years wars. The shadowy junk men scurry to the marketplace or political convention to start a new round of famine, disease, and war. The trouble with Russian writers. Chekhov brings a pistol to the dinner party and shows it blue steel, square, and deadly, while waiters ladle out cherry soup. I knock my bowl over, staining the tablecloth like the aftermath of some gangland slaying. Even waltzing with Ludmila Ivanova cannot take my mind off Chekhov's piece. Violins, chamber orchestra, my hand on her side, her tender pink shoulders, the orange silk gown, while hollow point, jagged metal lurks in the gun. You can't relax with a Russian writer around. Once he introduces a pistol, it has to go off. But what about those other threats? Terrorists spooning anthrax into Valentine's Day cards, SS-19 missiles pointed at New York and Chicago, dirty bombs infiltrating the country and shipping containers like AIDS penetrating white blood cells, and those sick chickens in China waiting to infect us all. Ludmila's rosy fingers toy with my waistband, promising a future of friendship and love. But I know God's a Russian writer. I abandon her and stand by the punch bowl, the heavy oak table, some cover for when trouble goes down. Well, okay, so like David said, I've got the book of travel poems, Foreigner, wherever I go. And, you know, whenever I'm returning from overseas, I always kind of have mixed feelings about coming back. You know, I don't know if other countries are saner than America is or just crazy in a different way. Maybe some of you can tell me. Anyway, this is the last poem in the book, and it's called The Foreigner at Home. My friends spend $100 on tolls and parking to drive me to the immaculate Japanese airport. Clerks bow and welcome me when I enter gift shops. Passengers wait quietly, then form efficient lines to board our plane. I arrive at LAX after a 10-hour flight. The customs inspector says no problem when I declare my tea and pickled plums. My collecting flight is delayed. I can't get the clerk's attention for a slice of pizza. She's too busy talking on the phone. I sit in the waiting area by the gate and look out the window at the brown LA sky. Aren't you glad to be back? America is the greatest country on earth. Someone always says this whenever I return from overseas. I take Japanese coins from my pockets and examine them. The years date from the emperor's coronation. American coins say liberty. I'm thankful not to measure my life by the pulse of kings and tyrants. Dressed in a pilot's uniform, America sits on a bar stool, knocking back vengeance and self-righteousness on the rocks. He gets up, staggers to the cockpit, and sits at the controls of the plane that will take me home. The flight attendant calls my row. I walk through the gate. Once on board, I search for an overhead bin large enough to hold my fears for America's future. Let's do something funny. All right. So, I don't know. Do you ever go to these poetry workshops where somebody plays a record, some music, and you're supposed to write a poem about it? I did that too, but I can only just make fun of it. So this is called Just Another Punk Rocker Writing About Jazz. They must have materialized at the open mic out of carbon and nitrogen in the air, those poets you'd never see at a jazz club. A guy in Roman helmet like Mohawk reads 3-chord rhymes about Mingus and MC and Fat Farm jeans, fires machine gun words about Miles, and a woman in high collar and sensible shoes chops Art Blakey into 14 lines of 10 syllables. Seems you can't be a real poet unless you write about jazz. Sid and Johnny Rotten dodging loogies in Dallas, Jimmy burning his guitar at Monterey Pop, and Grandmaster Flash close to the edge just won't do. So when the girl with the stud in her tongue says Coltrane, I have to hear him the way Jack and Alan did, a one-man hallelujah chorus, his sax blowing eternity like Rumi's reed flute notes, hopping and skipping from step to step up a staircase of rapture to the backing of piano chords and pop and crackle of needle on vinyl. But the literature of manual typewriters, Benzedrine, and William Burroughs hats has already been written. Where is the poetry slathered in SPF 16 to protect from the Coachella sun? The poetry of MP3 whose boots are caked in Glastonbury mud. So, you know, Maya Angelou did some poems or Hallmark cards, and that got me to thinking, well, what if Allen Ginsberg had done the same thing? So this is called Foul, or If Ginsberg Had Written Greeting Cards. I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by banality, brain dead, rose scented, dragging themselves through teddy bear aisles at dawn, looking for desperate birthday cards, blue haired grannies burning with the ancient hormonal connection to syrupy verse in the cogs and wheels of commerce, whose bone loss lightens bodies for ecstatic hot flash fueled flights of bliss, whose sweater sleeves bulge with tissues numerous as the diaphanous wings of an infinitude of angels, who journeyed to Indian casinos, ate buffets at Indian casinos, abandoned Indian casinos for Vegas, and now bingo cards long for their heroic pens, who never drive faster than their angels can fly, which is 20 miles per hour slower than the limit, and in the left-hand lane. What poodle of cliches and bad rhymes hollowed out their skulls and poured Metamucil on their imaginations? Moloch, political correctness, low-carb, feel-good emotions, sacred cows fouling the streams of thought, countless chicken soup books, office workers comatose after endless sensitivity training. Moloch, whose mouth emits a flood of Republican talking points. Moloch, whose teeth are the soulless gray cubicles of Madison Avenue. Moloch, the far side and Dilbert cards have been removed. They broke their backs, lifting Care Bears to heaven. Visions, dreams, inspirations drown in a festering swamp of platitudes. Maya Angelou, I'm with you at Hallmark, where merchants cash in on your name. I'm with you at Hallmark, where customers gag on the stench of perfume. I'm with you at Hallmark, where our electric words wake shoppers from their comas. Oh, ancient legions, run to the poetry aisles of your independent bookstore. Oh, unknown writers, forget your day jobs, you're free. I'm with you at Hallmark. In my dream, you ride dripping with dollars on a bus tour through America to a guest spot on Oprah on a warm Chicago night. Okay. So, foreign stuff. Pablo Neruda has 3 houses in Chile, and I actually went to all 3 of them, and he's a big junk collector, of course, and so I kind of merged them all together into one poem. Neruda's house. Model ships in bottles, a boat he never sailed, mounted fish, concrete seahorse, toy, wooden whale, black and white film of him with newsboy cap and bulbous nose, examining some rusty gear or carved figure from Bali. Portholes, astrolabes, brass ships compass, the she-shell collection he resumed after giving the first away. Neruda once saw a plank drifting in the ocean. Here comes my desk, he said. What's left of that communist who once fled over the mountains on horseback? Beetles and butterflies, green ink stains, wooden mask, narwhal tusk, Pinochet's iron fist, the colored drinking glasses that made water taste better. I can almost see him leaning elbows on the zinc bar, Campari in hand, stirrups, penguins, steam locomotive, all iron and eccentric wheels, ceramic cow, Lorca's ghost, 2,000 Spanish refugees, pink coro bird, embalmed wings spread, paintings of watermelons, Whitman Matilda with Karl Marx hidden in her hair, some tourist saying, Neruda, he was just a poet, right? Just a poet, just a singer of the commonplace, tuna, tomatoes, Valparaiso's, ramshackle tin roofs, just a voice for laborers and the poor, fishermen, peddlers, the bum, stealing beer from an outdoor cafe. They now sleep under the roof of his words and dream like he did of a fifth floor heliport gateway to the stars. So in New Zealand, the Treaty of Waitangi was the treaty that the Maori chiefs signed with the British to bring New Zealand into the British Empire. And, it's looked on kind of as the maybe most enlightened dealing with a modern nation with an indigenous people. When I practiced, it maybe didn't work out that well. But, Waitangi is like a little bit north of Auckland and kind of the Bay of Islands. And so I visited there. So this is called Treaty House at Waitangi. Across a perfect lawn, a skeleton of stained wood supports the white A-frame. A carving of Coupe, the discoverer, grins with paddle in hand from the gable over the doorway. He gazes at a white flagpole standing like a ship's mast on the promontory overlooking islands that float like greenstone canoes on the sapphire bay. I slip off my shoes. Inside socks glide over the smooth wooden floor. Fierce faces of Maori ancestors threaten with protruding tongues, glare with mother of pearl eyes from carved beams. So this is where the British and Maori signed the treaty. Only it's not. In my rush to the 1940 Maori meeting hall, I passed the treaty house without a second glance. Humble like compromise, the boxy white structure looks like an office, not the birthplace of a nation. Humble too was the house's owner, James Busby. Lacking George Armstrong Custer's halo of golden hair and thunder of Spencer repeating rifles, Busby negotiated with the Maori chief. No trail of tears, no wounded knee, no thunderous brass band for Busby. Only courtrooms and bankruptcy. Nations do not honor heroes with no blood on their hands. And I think I'll do maybe two more. So let me see if I can find the next one. Okay, this is called A Taco Truck on Every Corner. And it starts with an epigraph from Marco Gutierrez from Latinos for Trump. And he says, my culture is a very dominant culture and it's imposing and it's causing problems. If you don't do something about it, you're going to have taco trucks on every corner. Taste the America that still can be, where brown hands and smiling faces save your late mornings, with flour tortillas dripping in butter, flavors and syllables roll off the tongue, chorizo, adobo, pico de gallo, carne asada, al pastor, huevos rancheros, chile relleno. Not on every block, but maybe every square mile, a Korean fusion truck with its K taco, bulgogi beef, kimchi, and sweet fiery gochujang. Diversity sets the best table. Pillowy Ethiopian injera, Vietnamese banh mi, melding Asian and European flavors on French bread, pad thai, chicken and waffles, the Cuban sandwich, gyros, baba ganoush, shawarma, sushi, tempura, samosas, lumpia, biryani, General Tso's chicken. Did I forget Italy? Who can imagine lives without pizza, lasagna, and Chianti? America, your banquet awaits. Okay, let's do the last one. Loose ends. So much I didn't tell you. Women shedding clothes on my birthday, plunging into the Pacific waves, glowing from luminous algae. How the mangosteen is the best fruit, except maybe for Japan's white peach or Pacific Northwest thimbleberries, red tart. Shouts of shoe shine at O'Hare Airport, an old guy pirouetting on rollerblades in a 7-Eleven parking lot, the Northwest Indian legend of a man turned into Siwash rock as a reward for generosity. The three sisters in Australia's Blue Mountains also turned to stone, this time by their shaman father who died in battle before reversing the spell. Cicadas big as hummingbirds, the sun rising on the right, a sandal big as a couch, radio station 3RRR, taking curves along the Great Ocean Road, Millie the Wombat clawing a furrow in the dirt while I crooned and scratched her rump. Platanos rellenos, bananas stuffed with chicken, Lithuanian dumplings shaped like zeppelins, 20 kinds of empanadas in Argentina. In Spain, a tortilla is a potato omelet, and horchata is made with almonds. Squid on a stick, kaiseki, sushi, and tiny chest of drawers, a box of soy milk hot in Macau. The pizza I cooked for Kyoko in a fish broiler, and koji, worrying I'd overcook the ham. 6 small cups of strong oolong tea in Hong Kong, and the roar of the crowd at dim sum, a waitress raising her voice so I'd understand Mandarin, Farmer Yang who got a paltry $30 for discovering the terracotta warriors, a guide in a Hard Rock Cafe Beijing t-shirt, listening to the Cranberries when we drove to Ningbo, an English teacher in a Mao jacket who lived in Louisiana but never saw New Orleans, Confucian scholars in Seoul waving, the Red Army veteran who played me taped Estonian protest songs, Santiago's notorious beer thief, stray dogs in men walking a dozen dogs each in Buenos Aires, Gardolito tangoing with Lauren in the park, a Mayan hammock peddler who taught me to say no in Yucatec, dreadlocked teens doing capoeira somersaults in Geneva, the shy smile of a hotel owner herding a bunny into her room, a monk with a gold tooth carrying an arrow in Kyoto, the woman who ran off to a Japanese train station and returned 10 minutes later with a map to my hotel, Kyoko's 80-year-old father bowing on my leaving his house of tatami, and Amida Buddha, please take care of yourself. Bullfights in an ancient Colosseum in southern France, a Burger King by a Roman gate in Germany, bears in Bern, the fox in Jackie's garden, incomprehensible British phrases like traffic calming. Midsummer night, a rowboat with a torch welcoming the sun after its brief dip under the Baltic, parks named for poets, poets on money, a Lydiard dollar, language is the nation, the love of their newfound freedom, a bar and a sauna too, Sana, physician of the poor, slot cars left there by a touring rock czar, the owner's dog who went with him to scout film locations, Helsinki, Moscow's double, Hong Kong, the smell of kerosene, the longest escalator in the world, red and blue plastic tarps everywhere, strolling on balmy November evenings, Hanoi Street, neon lights, dinner at an outdoor cafe, rolling down a hill in an inflated ball in Rotorua, and me, chief of the bus for a Maori ceremony, Mount Ruipeha, white goddess, admiring her reflection in Lake Taupo. It's beautiful here, says Lauren. let's stay. And thank you very much, everybody. If you haven't had enough of me yet, I have 2 more features in January and plenty of books that you can buy. I will leave links in the chat.